We're going to start this meeting. Can you call the meeting of November 27, 2023 to order? With that, we'll begin with the salute to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Spanis-Clemens?
Here.
Ms. Paczynski?
Here.
Mrs. Blomgren?
Here.
Mrs. Chaikin?
Here.
Mr. Cormack?
Here.
Mrs. Cullen?
Here.
Mr. Rice?
Here.
Mr. Russell? And Mr. Wirs.
Here.
All right, beginning with public comment. According to policy 903, public comment, which is limited to 3 minutes, should be directed to the presiding officer rather than individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. For confidentiality and privacy rights, specific comments regarding particular individuals must be communicated privately to the school board and superintendent via email at psdschoolboard@penridge.org.
Mr. President, there are 3 people signed up for this section of public comment. The first is Ms. Jane Kramer, then Dan Shapiro, then Christina Hicks. Ms. Kramer.
Can everybody hear? No, it sounds, the sound system's lower than it normally is. I don't know.
Project. I will use the usual volume used at these meetings. Ms. Kramer, Mr. Shapiro, and Ms. Hicks.
Jane Kramer, Sellersville. Just a few thoughts on the final report from Vermillion Education that's on the agenda for tonight. I don't understand the value of having a contractor who was rejected by the majority of this community complete a last-minute review of curriculum for $5,000. It could have made sense to complete this prior to making curriculum changes, but at this point, anything he produces is going to be viewed as biased and divisive and should be rejected by the incoming board. I really hope this report is an attempt to save face and not an indication that the Penridge GOP is going to double down on culture war fear-mongering. I do think it's important for this community to start having conversations about race, but not out of fear. My hope is we can have conversation that stem from a desire to understand all of your neighbors and how you can help them feel more welcome. That we can give each other grace and focus on the real issues in this district that were laid out in the Office of Civil Rights Complaint. Thank you.
Mr. Shapiro, and then Ms. Hicks.
Thank you, Dan Shapiro, Bedminster Township. I want to start with a brief comment actually on the assistant superintendent role changes. So I do want to welcome Mr. Palmer. Glad to have you. But I do want to raise a concern about not having a administration member who's actually dedicated to elementary ed. As a Diabler parent, with what we went through the last 6 months, Dr. R was like the only person we could go to who was truly focused on elementary ed, and we didn't have a principal. And I'm not saying that this change is bad, but it's going to be disruptive. So I really want to encourage Mr. Barrios and our new board to find ways to make sure that the elementary ed experience is still protected while we're going through this period. I think teachers, parents, principals are all going to have to learn how to navigate this new structure. I don't think it's a bad idea, but definitely going to be a change. I do have 2 bigger issues I want to talk about though. So we'll start with Vermillion, and I have some questions. I want to pose them to the board. I hope you'll address some of this in your discussion. I'd love to know when you guys decided to get on board with terminating Jordan Adams. When did this happen? Who on the board was responsible for getting us to the point that we're at tonight? Put this on the agenda. Did Jordan himself ask for this? Because after all, you guys voted for like the 6th time a month ago to keep him in here, employed, with no indication, no discussion about ending this anytime soon, right? And then all of a sudden, here we are terminating him. So if you decided it only after the election, as Jane was just saying, why go pay for this other report and spend another $5,000? You know the platform that the newly elected candidates were on. It's stopping Vermillion. They're not interested in what he has to say. So I'm actually thankful and surprised to see this on the agenda, but I'd love to hear someone on the board enlighten us on how we got to this point. And lastly, I want to talk about what's happening with the tech school JOCC. So in order to try and, I guess, maintain some control here, the board is going to have Megan resign her seat tonight, 1 week early, so they can put Jordan in that spot. Because if they waited another week, we'd have a different board majority who would probably make a really different decision about who should be representing Penridge. This is the worst kind of lame duck politics. There's no reason in a district which actually just spoke up and voted for Democratic control for the first time in the era of partisan school board leadership to now have a 2/3 Republican, a minority of our board, giving a majority of our voice to the JOC. The people spoke up. The will of the voters spoke, and it wasn't you guys. I'm sorry, this time it wasn't. So I would really ask the board to stop what you're trying to do with this political gamesmanship. Simply let Megan's term end and let the new board that was just elected decide who should fill those seats. Thank you.
Ms. Hicks, and then we have one other person, Phoebe Wilcox is after Ms. Hicks.
Good evening. Christina Hicks, Telford, Hilltown Township. Thank you. I support the termination of the Vermillion contract and the firing of Jordan Adams. I'm a little confused why it's happening now, not months ago when we kept asking over and over and over again ad nauseum. Vermillion has provided nothing of substance to our district to the tune of $35,000, $5,000 of which was just added for what? I'm not exactly sure. It was just voted on October 26th that we would keep him again. So this is very surprising when I saw this. Anyway, his recommendations have affected very few changes to their curriculum. His suggestions will likely be reversed as stated. And these changes were not fully supported by the hardworking faculty of our school district. Hopefully, we will revert to the original social studies curriculum that was worked on painstakingly by our Penridge teachers. The Vermillion experiment has been a colossal failure by any metric, and yet as it appears, our current board majority is concerned with saving face and preserving Mr. Adams' reputation. If you were truly concerned with doing the right thing for our district, you would have listened to us, the overwhelming opposition from stakeholders, and not hired him to begin with, or terminated much, much sooner, before the $35,000, as I said. I personally want to thank each and every person who voted this November. My hope is that our current board members can work with our newly elected board members so that the community, I should say, that the decisions that we make will better align with the desires of the community for our children's education. Our children deserve a competitive public education that will allow them to be prepared for college education and the workforce in the 21st century. We've said that over and over again, and I'm really hoping that each one of you that are remaining will work with the new board members as they come on. Further, I was very confused by Megan resigning and then for Jordan to take the spot on the tech school joint operating committee. This term will run through next December, so it's a full year. We have Chris Kaufman starting next week with the new board, who is a union electrician and also, to my knowledge, has advised the tech schools before. So it just feels like a much better fit. Again, I'm not the one to make this decision. I'm just curious as to why we weren't waiting until next week. He just seems like the clear and conscientious choice for this position, given his experience. So I'm just curious maybe I'm missing something. No offense to Ms. Blumgren, maybe she has experience I'm unaware of, but that would be something that I'd like addressed because it's very curious. Thank you very much.
Ms. Wilcox.
I'd just like to, I'm Phoebe Wilcox from Bedminster. I'd just like to thank the board for the pending vote to end the Vermillion contract. And I'm also, I'd just like to say there are a lot of Civil War reenactment type people, fans out there, who will be really happy that the Civil War will be taught at Penridge once again. So, and I don't know anything about this $5,000 fiasco people are. I stopped paying attention and had Thanksgiving. That's it.
Mr. President, that's the end of the list of people signed up to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Moving on to the President's report. All right. This evening, I'd like to look back through the current calendar year and reflect on some of the district's accomplishments that directly impact our students, staff members, and community. This summer, the board approved a 7th straight year with no tax increase, a 5th straight year with a balanced budget. We approved a new 5-year contract with PEA, the teachers union. We filled many vacant teaching positions as well as many administrative level positions. We hired a great new superintendent, Mr. Barrios. We will be voting this evening to hire a new assistant to the superintendent for administration. This evening, we also will be voting to approve a settlement agreement with the PSD professionals, the support staff, a year earlier than originally scheduled. The thought to work and move forward finalizing this contract was to ensure our support staff is on par with our surrounding districts. They support our students on a daily basis, and we want to make sure they know that we support them as well. To say that it was a full year is an understatement. A big thank you to the many staff members who sat in during negotiations, answering late night questions. To my other teammates I sit on stage with this evening, I'd like to thank you for your dedication to this community. There are also many others who I'd like to personally thank this evening for their dedication to their service to our students and our Pennridge community. The employees behind the scenes, making it happen, without any special recognition, tasks that need to be taken care of, and poof, magically, they're done. There's so many employees who are willing to provide the best of themselves, day in and day out, for our Pennridge students. This is just one of the many reasons I'm Pennridge proud. My wish to all students this year, I wish you the best of health and happiness in your journey through Pennridge. Remember to always be kind. This is my final report. Mr. Barrios, moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Before I deliver the superintendent's report, I would be remiss if I did not share a few opening remarks and observations. I want to express my appreciation for the kind reception I've received as I begin my tenure as your superintendent. It's a privilege to serve in this capacity, and I'm truly grateful for the support I've received from the Pembridge community. I've witnessed rich instruction and highly engaged students in my school visits. The students of Pembridge are the core of our community. Their enthusiasm and determination fuel academic excellence within our schools. I eagerly anticipate working with our students, learning from their perspectives, and supporting their aspirations so that each student can thrive in an environment that nurtures growth. Education capacitates for success, and from what I have observed in my travels thus far, I am beyond delighted and very proud of each of you, each of our students. To our staff, your dedication to education is discernible and appreciated. It is a privilege to work alongside such an outstanding team. I also eagerly look forward to our future with boundless optimism. To our community, your steadfast support is crucial. Our partnership plays a role in ensuring the strength and success of our district. I'm genuinely excited about engaging with all members of our community, listening attentively to your perspectives, and working hand in hand, guaranteeing that our schools remain a source of great pride for everyone involved. Thank you for indulging me. So now I will officially begin our superintendent's report, and I think you'll quickly see why I'm very excited. Many of the students and staff members part of this report are here with us this evening. Just a housekeeping item, when I announce your name, please come forward to the front of the stage. I'd like to start with one of Pennsylvania's best social workers, Mr. Joe Werner. Joe Werner is one of 3 amazing social workers in the Pennridge School District, that we are very, very proud to have. Mr. Werner was nominated by his colleague for the Pennsylvania Association of School Social Work and Personnel as the State Social Worker of the Year. Joe makes a difference in the lives of students every day, and the state panel of experts agreed 100%. So please help me congratulate Mr. Joe Werner.
Congratulations.
Next is a new tradition that we started at Penn Ridge, where we're going to honor our veterans. It should be depicted on the screen before you. So all the following individuals are not only Penn Ridge employees, but they are proud veterans who have served our country. You will see the images of these staff members who have served our country in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. And we ask that you come forward when I call your name to the front of the stage. So I'm partial to the Marine Corps, so we'll start with the Marines. So from our Transportation Department, Todd Gunther with 6 years of service in the Marine Corps. Please come forward. From the Technology Department, Chester McCulloch with 8 years of service. Feel free to stand again. From our Athletic Department, Darryl Lowry with 2 years of service, and he is, I believe, hunting this evening, or today. Okay. We'll get all of them together. We'll keep rolling, folks. So for our Army veterans, from our Nutritional Services Department, Eugene Smith with 6 years of service. From the Maintenance Department, Ken Crick. Joe Nosko with 6 years of service. Master Sergeant David Johnson with an incredible 21 years of service. From our Transportation Department, Robert Wasson with 6 years of service. And Lewis Smith with 2 years. From Penn Ridge High School, teacher Kaylin Mitchell with 8 years of military service. And from our Tech Department, Fran Bauman with 6 years of Finally, our Navy veterans from our Transportation Department, Donald Walton with 6 years of naval service. Also from Transportation, Jerome De La Tour with 4 years of service. And Penn Ridge High School physics teacher, Robert Silver with 6 years of service. Also the recipient of a Naval ROTC scholarship. Last week, the lobby of Penn Ridge High School turned pink when officials from the Grandview Health Network joined us. Members of many of our sports teams and clubs presented Grandview Hospital with a check of more than $16,000. You may also remember that earlier this month, we also shared on our official social media that student council members from South Middle School presented Grandview with a check for $2,000. My math serves me correctly, that is an $18,000 donation for breast cancer support. So we are beyond proud of our students for raising this type of money. And there are images depicted before you. Thank you. We'd like to show you something that just happened a few days ago. We hosted the 94th annual Thanksgiving game between Penn Ridge and Quakertown. The day started off where administrators and school board members from both districts sharing a pregame breakfast provided by our own Nutritional Services Department, and then we headed to the game. Unfortunately, it was we lost that game, but I know we will be back next year. But What was truly excellent for me was to see the community come together in such a high level of esprit de corps. You had the marching band, the color guard, a lot of alumni came back, the football players, and the spectators and families. It was really just a pleasure to be part of that experience. So, next up, let's continue to celebrate even more Penridge All-Stars. Our girls cross-country team made it all the way to the state meet this year and competed well. Please help me celebrate these student athletes. If you're in the house, I'm going to call your name. Please come forward. Ashley Landis, Veronica Gula, Taylor Burkett, Keegan Smith, Maria Lara Lozano, Grace Santos, Jessica Lackner, and Arlena Parks. Please come forward. Next up, our girls water polo team finished third in the state this season. In addition to a great season, we also want to celebrate their coach, Jacob Grant, who was named Pennsylvania Coach of the Year for the third year in a row. And we also want to announce that senior Allie Riccardi was named Pennsylvania Water Polo Player of the Year. Finally, in one of the most dominant four-year stretches of any Penridge team ever, our girls soccer team just put their final exclamation point on their legacy with the second state title in 4 years. Please take a quick look at the video.
You see them? The one sitting atop the throne. A crown on their head and a target on their back. The team no one can look away from. The team everyone wants to take down. So take your best shot. Just remember, you come with the queen. You best not miss.
I'm
In addition to those very impressive numbers and stats, the roster is stacked with 7 Division I college committed athletes, which also include an All-American Anna Croyle, and 3 Division II commitments. Liv Grenda was named to the All-State Team, Suburban Philadelphia Soccer Officials Association Outstanding Sportsmanship Award, sorry for the wordiness, and their coach, Audrey Anderson, won her 200th game and has also been named the PSCA Coach of the Year. So congratulations. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the front of the stage the 2023 PIAA 4A Girls State Championship team.
All right, guys, let's stack it together one more time. Yeah. Guys, let's do a couple in front. Right here. That's it. Stack them up. Guys, come on this side. There you go. Keep going. This way, too. Come on, get over here. Get down this way. There we go. Good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Guys, give them a big cheer.
Okay, next we want to announce our Penridge Community Educational Foundation will be awarding well-deserved grants to the following teachers. As in the years past, teachers were encouraged to apply for grants that help provide unique opportunities and learning support to their students in classrooms. Please see the screen behind the stage for this year's list of recipients.
That's all.
Also, tonight, we are saying thank you to 4 of our school board members who will work with us on stage for the final time this evening. We thank you on behalf of the Penridge School District for your support, the inordinate amount of time that you have spent behind the scenes being public servants. So at this time, I would call to the front of the stage, if you can, President Mr. David Rice, Vice President Ms. Megan Baines-Clemens, Mr. Jonathan Russell, and Ms. Joan Cullen. We have something for you. As I conclude my report this evening, I ask that we turn our focus to a distinguished individual who has played a pivotal role in the fabric of the Penridge community. At this time, I ask Dr. Tony Rybarchuk to please join me. Dr. Rybarchuk's tenure with Penridge stands as a testament to his excellence. His dedication, passion, and steadfast commitment to enhancing our educational community have impacted the hearts and minds of students, colleagues, and parents alike. If you don't know, Dr. Rubarchuk accepted a position in a different school district, and we wish him all the best, and we have a gift for him. So if you could maybe go over here, Dr. Rubarchuk. I have to get used to all this activity, so, but we congratulate Dr. Rubarchuk, and we have it. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Marius. All right, I gotta talk a little bit louder. Here we go. All right. This time I'm going to make a motion to approve the settlement agreement between the Penridge Education Support Professional Association, the PESPA, and the Penridge Board of School Directors effective November 17th, 2023 for the term of July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2027.
Second?
Superseding
Nope, sorry.
Superseding the 2019 to 2024 CBA and applied as described in the agreement.
Now a second?
Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in?
Yes, actually, I just wanted to comment. I just wanted to thank Jeff Klein and his team. It was a pleasure negotiating with them, and you know, I really enjoyed working with them, and you know, coming to consensus to put our support staff in a great position moving forward. Now putting us in a competitive salary bracket where we're leading the charge and able to hire staff. You know, I think I saw Jessica Kraus was here, but I think she left. You know, special recognition to her as well, and her transportation staff. And you know, we've had 8 employees that have been driving buses in addition to their regular jobs as a second full-time job during this period of time. And so, you know, I'm really excited to see us be able to recruit more bus drivers, to be able to relieve them from having to do 2 jobs for such a long period of time. The contract also adds professional development across all of our support staff, as well as tuition and certification reimbursement, so that our staff can become more highly qualified, and us be able to support them to do so. You know, and also if our teaching assistants are getting additional professional development and want to become, you know, want to move towards a teaching role, it's helpful for us to be able to help support our staff members to be able to move up and do those things as they're working through the district. So I just wanted to, you know, acknowledge the wonderful things in this contract. I'm glad we were able to get it done early so that they don't have to wait with, you know, with so few employees and the shortages for an extra year. And again, just the hard work of Jeff Klein and his team working with us, I really appreciate it.
All right, so I got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on to consent calendar. I'm going to make a motion to approve the consent calendar items A through I. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the committee reports. Ms. Batisky.
Okay. Let me get my bearings now. For activities, motion to approve the following overnight trips: A and B, PHS Cheerleaders National Comp in Disney World from February 7th to February 13th, and a PHS annual ski trip to Vermont from February 23rd to February 25th, 2024.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next activities meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 2nd.
Sorry about that, Ms. Chapin.
That's fine.
Moving on to curriculum, Ms. Blomgren.
All right. A motion to approve the 12th grade Medical Care Academy program.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then a motion to conclude services with Vermillion and pay final invoice.
I'll second that motion.
Before we vote, I would actually like this should not be one motion, it should be three. Because you've got the final curriculum report, which people accurately described as something that none of us had ever really seen or knew was going to be happening. You have an invoice to pay him, and then you want to terminate your agreement with him. Those are three separate actions, and they should be taken separately in three motions.
The motion that's on the floor is the motion to conclude services and pay the final invoice. Unless the maker of the motion agrees to the amendment, then it goes as it's written.
I'll second.
It's already been seconded.
Now we go back to Ms. Blomgren.
Yeah, assuming that you want to do it as it's written? or-
Yep, as written.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Nope. Comments or questions?
Oh.
There's a lot to talk about.
That's what we just did, isn't that what she commented?
No, she raised a procedure point. We adjusted. Now it's comments and questions. She's in order. Ms. Conlon, you're in order.
Okay, good, yes, I know. So the final curriculum report, as it was already stated in a public comment, but it's worth repeating, this wasn't something that we were made aware would be happening. And there was actually 7 opportunities to end the contract with this individual. And the majority of the board decided 7 different times to go ahead and proceed with this agreement with him. And as late as October 27th, we had another opportunity to end it, and you didn't. And then you didn't even mention that you would be bringing it to an end this month. And so that's the comment on the taking this action now. The curriculum report itself, we've never had a report on something like this, even when our engineering firm, when they want to come to, they come to us regularly and talk about their projects. At many facilities meetings, we've all seen and sat through numerous presentations from our engineering firm, giving us an update on their work, providing final details about projects. This was just thrown onto the agenda, and it's an embarrassment, really. This report has when you read it, it's basically a recitation of quotes that he pulled out of context from different courses. It's like the Geico commercial with Aunt Joni, expired. He has all of these times where he says that the course content was not available. I don't know if he was truly unaware or if he was being deliberate in deceiving people, but for the AP courses, in the Atlas, it directs you when you want to see the course content, because AP courses are nationally directed. It tells you to go to the College Board AP web pages for those courses. And it's a 15-page report, and as I said, he just pulls out all these quotes out of context from things, and then at the end of the report, there's no citation. There's there are no footnotes, there's no citations, there's no specific place where you can find these things. We're just to take him at his word that he pulled these quotes out of there, again, with no context. So you have no idea what might have come after. He has one bullet point, says defund the police by itself. You have no idea what came before that, what came after it. In the context of the conversation, how is it being presented? No idea. I mean, for someone to say that this is a professionally produced report is honestly laughable. And that's why we should be taking this as 3 separate motions, because this is a trick that's used on the federal level with big bills. And if there's any kids watching, I know some school board members get upset when kids are told to watch school board members. But this is a good example of how things are shoved together in bills to force people to vote yes for something that they don't want to support. And I say it with this because
he should not be getting paid. We should actually be getting a refund. So I don't want to vote yes to pay him. I certainly do not want to vote yes to give my stamp of approval to this report, because he will be able to walk away and say that he had the unanimous approval of the Penridge School Board for this product, which is so unprofessional and so incomplete that, again, if I were still teaching, this would get a failing grade from me. The only thing I want to vote yes for is the termination of his contract. And if the items aren't going to be separated, I'm going to have to abstain from the whole thing and protest, because I'm not going to be forced by trickery in this last minute thing that you're trying to do, again, to just manipulate the public and manipulate things for your friend at Vermillion to make it seem like he did good work and he had the approval of the school board. No one should vote yes for this motion, because if you vote yes, you're voting yes for him to be able to say, I got unanimous approval from the Penridge School Board for my work. And it's shameful. It's absolutely shameful that you won't separate them, and it's the first transparent thing you guys have done all year.
I just had a question as to why we're approving the final invoice when we've not approved the previous invoices this way. It's been typically put in the consent calendar, I think, or with the bills, and I just wondered why this last one's being done. Because the hard part is I never approved him to go through and do the itemized things. Kindergarten English language arts, first grade English language arts, second grade. And so if I never approved that to begin with, why would I then be asked to approve the bill? I could see if I approved the service provided, then I could see presenting the bill, but I never was asked to approve these specific items that is stated that he provided. So it's just odd to me that the final invoice is being attached in this way, as opposed to the other ways that it was just pushed through as part of either the consent calendar or part of finance.
All right.
Just one more thing. I won't reiterate what Joan said. She said it a lot better than I would, but I would like to thank the community, because the reason this is on the agenda is because of the community. And thanks for standing up, and we're getting rid of them. I can't vote for this the way it is. I agree with Joan, but I want to move on and get past this, so we could start over again.
I do also want to point out that in his entire report, the main thing that he did here was completely blow up our 9th grade social studies course. And you read this 15-page report, and it's like 9th grade social studies. What 9th grade social studies? It's not even mentioned in his report. And this was supposed to be the bulk of his work. I mean, it's stunning.
It was in the
it's
other
stunning.
report you didn't read.
Well,
Right,
this is
the
his
21
final.
pages
This
that you
is
didn't
his
read.
final report. This is supposed to be the summation of his
No,
work.
it's not.
He lists
It's not.
every.
It's a different report,
excuse
so
me.
go back and read the other reports.
He lists every other course that he's worked on, which he also, by the way, reported on in his other reports. When you say something is your final report, this should be your moment to tell us everything that you've done. He won't even show up here in person or by Zoom. Since June, we've not seen hide nor hair of this man, and you have paid him $35,000 of Penridge taxpayer money. This is the biggest grift. Congratulations to him for managing to fool 5 of you people, but I'm not going to be fooled.
There was one other thing too. When I was going through it online, the links were evidently not working either. So the links that were there, I couldn't connect through to that. But I did think that there was 2 things of note. That was the AP English class on language and composition, as well as the AP English class on literature and composition. It's noted that there are especially well-designed classes that should be looked to as a model of academic seriousness and quality and its structure and organization. So I thought that was a particular note.
Ms. Chenoweth, would you mind if we have a roll call vote, please?
Sorry, I want to speak before we do our roll call as well. I was debating speaking because I know it's just getting to the point, but it's really difficult listening to you, Ms. Cullen, have your selective outrage as usual toward this contract. And you say it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
And what I find embarrassing on many accounts from many people in the room that have ever commented on Vermillion, anything like that, we have spent so much money on previous consultants. There was never the same outrage, never the same, look, qualified, okay.
There's a difference.
Never
Please
even
be-
looking
everyone
into
please be
it.
in order. Thank you.
Never questioning it at all. So one can only assume as to why the same outrage is not given to the other consultants. We spent over $126,000 on those consultants, which we have no context as to what we actually paid for. We don't. It's not anywhere, you cannot find it. But the selective outrage over the Vermillion contract, to me, is what is embarrassing, that you give one outrage and you put it under such scrutiny. I could respect it if that would be done for every single one before. Any questioning, anywhere the money is, any bringing up where the bills would come from, then I could respect it. But I can't when it's just specific to this specific contract. I will say this, though. I'm not sure, Ms. Cullen, if you've gone onto College Board, but they don't give specifics as to each AP course that is being taught. There is still guidelines and there's still flexibility for teachers. Mind you, in his own report, the 2 AP courses that Mr. Russell spoke of that he said are very well organized. Some of our other AP courses do not have that. Underneath that, it just has referred to the college boards, okay? So I'm not sure if you've been to that website, but it's not all just right there that they pull from. That's not how that works. But I just want to mention one thing I want to point out that is my hope, is that many of the recommendations in the report and previous reports are to make sure that content being delivered to students is unbiased and not leading. We all want students to critically think and be able to think for themselves. Even as seniors, their brains are not fully developed, and we as a district have a responsibility and should make sure that there is equal weight given to positions, ideas, and not being delivered one-sided. It is my hope that the district will take Mr. Adams' reports and look at the big ideas, essential questions, content and skills that may have potential bias, and give more guidance to teachers on how to deliver them to ensure the delivery and discussion is even-handed. As I promised when I ran for school board in 21, I will continue to fight to keep bias, social justice activism, CRT, and DEI out of our schools. So I do want to thank Mr. Adams for his service to the district.
Ms. Chen?
It wouldn't make a
I just
difference
also wanted
if,
to add that he has concluded the services that we asked him to do, which is why we're voting to conclude the contract, because he did everything that we had asked him to do. The other thing that is in the contract, the contract was approved, and then the bills are approved. That's how it works. And the other thing, that I hope it gets improved upon in the future, as a parent, I can't access any of the elementary curriculum. It's not there. There's no accessibility to be able to look at what curriculum, what your kids are learning in elementary school. You can't pull it up. And there's many classes that aren't in there. And that's a concern, that you can't access any of that information. I should be able to pull it up and I should be able to review it. So we need to get everything in the system so that people can access it. I mean, there was legislation passed. We're supposed to be doing that. And so that's something that, we're going to have to get in the system so that we can review it. I tried to pull it even as a parent, even as a board member. Can't even get to the curriculum or the information. So when you talk about missing content, yeah, that's a concern. No one even knows. It's not there.
actually, we passed that a long time ago, that we would put everything on Atlas, and it was being worked on, but our employees were interrupted so many times by you and by Mr. Adams, told to stop doing what they were doing. And Jordan, yes, I'm quite familiar with College Board. I know what it says.
Then why are you
I know
saying
that
that
the
it's all
course
there?
content,
It's not all
because
there
the course
specifics.
content is there. He said that it wasn't. And also, it doesn't matter how much, even if we paid him a nickel, it would have been too much money, Jordan. The price, or the point is not the price. The point is that you went out, you found this contract, this person, you did all of the work behind the scenes. You did not allow us to vet anyone. You did not allow us to consider, you did not allow us to consider any other sources. And this product that he gave us here is, yes, an absolute embarrassment. It does not contain the level of detail that it should contain if he actually spent the amount of time that he claims that he did. I mean, we're spending $5,000 for 15 pages that I won't say that it seems like a child wrote it, because that would be insulting. I mean, this is not college level work. It's not master's level work. It's certainly not professional level work that he produced. It's not worth the amount of money that we paid him, even again, if it was a dime. it wouldn't have been worth it. So don't try to insult me by saying that I don't understand how things work. I know perfectly well how they work. I have been on the board for 8 years. I have sat through numerous, very detailed presentations of the work that people have done for us. And this man has not had the guts to come see us since June. And the reason why he hasn't been here since June, and he was only on TV then, but he hasn't been here since June because he utterly embarrassed himself when he was
Because you have
here.
to pay him by the
No,
hour. Are you
no,
advocating
oh,
for
stop.
paying him more money?
He
Then
could
pay
have
him
been,
more.
he
Okay.
could have been
I
with
think-
us on Zoom.
let's-
He's
let's
embarrassed.
call
And he
the
should be
roll.
embarrassed.
Ms. Chenoweth,
He's not
please.
embarrassed.
He's embarrassed.
Mrs. Bass Clemens,
Yes.
Ms. Patisky,
Abstain.
Mrs. Blomgren,
Yes.
Mrs. Chaikin,
Yes.
Mr. Cormack,
Yes.
Mrs. Cullen,
Abstain.
Mr. Russell,
Abstain.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
and Mr. Wers.
Abstain.
Motion carries with 4 abstentions.
And I want the record to reflect, Mr. Adams, you did not get the unanimous approval of the Penn Ridge School Board.
We didn't even vote on his report. That wasn't even part of the.
That was,
vote.
that
Ms.
was
Blomgren.
actually,
Moving on to item number D.
it's on the agenda, it's on the
Meeting is
agenda.
scheduled for
I just wanted
Tuesday,
to add
January
that,
2nd.
excuse me, I just want to add that I'm thankful we'll not have to mention the word Vermillion again, so let's move on. Put it behind us.
I'm pretty sure I get rid of it.
All right. Okay. I almost thought you were clapping for me. Hang on. All right, moving on to facilities. Mr. Cormack.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. We have approval of
Microphone.
obsolete items.
Your microphone.
Oh,
please.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I thought I could be loud enough that everyone could hear me. Again, we are looking at approval of obsolete items from A to B.
I second that. Got a motion and a second. All the comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next Facilities Committee meeting is scheduled for January 8th, 2024.
Moving on to finance. All right, first motion is to approve contracts A through F listed below. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Comments or questions?
Mr. Rice, could we pull out C and vote on that separately, please?
I'll amend my motion, items A, B, D, E, and F. Could I get that a second, Mr. Cormack, as well?
Second.
Thank you, sir. All right, that is on the floor. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I'll make a motion with item number C. Comments or questions? I need a second.
Second.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. All right. Motion to approve the settlement offer for government entity claims against Altria in the amount of $33,960. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Got a motion to approve student activity accounts A and B listed below. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Got a motion to approve e-signature resolution for contracts with the Pennsylvania Department of Education. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I got a motion to approve stipends pertaining to individuals who attain a ranked level in skilled trade position, or who have obtained certification as required to perform necessary services within the district. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, January 8th, 2024. Moving on to personnel, Ms. Chapin.
you want to do that now or when we get to that one? Okay. All right, I'm going to make a motion to approve tenure recommendations for the following employees. I apologize if I say anybody's name incorrectly. Jacqueline Bellotti, Jacqueline Brown, Brittany Chunko, Sean Gibbons, Laura Hickmott, Kellyanne Johnson, Daniel Linsky, Christopher Mance, Kelsey Pressler, Emily Thomas, and Jamie Parker.
I'll second that. Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and next I have a motion to approve the following job descriptions, A through C. Assistant Superintendent for Administration, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, and Director of Communications and Community Relations.
I'll second that.
Can you separate out C, please?
Ms. Chief, would you be amenable to change your motion? A and B?
Make a motion to approve items A and B.
I'll second that as well. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
And I will make a motion to approve the job description of Director of Communications and Community Relations.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and lastly,
I just want to make one quick comment regarding the comment about having someone for elementary. This is actually, Mr. Berrios's model is actually the same model that we had under Dr. Radigan's tenure, where Dr. Scheid was in charge. This is actually the same exact role that Dr. Scheid had back in that period of time, and actually Dr. Scheid prefers this model, and then she has the continuity of having the curriculum K-12. And I don't know how much background you guys have on her experience, but her main experience was actually in the elementary level and the primary level, and she has substantial knowledge and experience in literacy for kids. So this is actually the perfect role for Dr. Scheid. I just wanted to point that out, that she does have that elementary background, because I do think that that's important. And she does have the background all the way through, which is why she's the perfect candidate for that position. So I just thought that that was important for the public to be aware of. Thank you.
I think I forget where we were.
Item number C, Ms. Chief.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve Mr. Bradley Palmer as assistant. Oh, did you want to, before you, I'm sorry, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barrios.
Thank you, Ms. Chaikin. I'm delighted to recommend Mr. Bradley Palmer as Assistant Superintendent for Administration. Mr. Palmer will be taking over from Dr. Tony Rabarchuk, who has accepted a position in another school district. Mr. Palmer is a graduate of Temple University and has earned a Bachelor of Science in Science Education and a Master of Science in Education, and is currently completing his doctoral studies in educational leadership at Arcadia University. He has a background as a chemistry and physics teacher, as science department chair, and is currently an assistant principal at Abington Senior High School. Mr. Palmer has demonstrated leadership in STEM education, advanced placement course implementation, career pathways model development, grade reconfiguration, and block scheduling. In his role, Mr. Palmer will provide guidance and support to all K-12 principals across our Penn Ridge schools. With more than 26 years of educational experience, Mr. Palmer comes with extensive expertise and dedication to academic excellence, making him an ideal fit for this position. Mr. Palmer brings a sense of community as well. In Abington, he currently serves on the executive board of the Abington Community Task Force and the Abington Educational Foundation. So I'm confident that Mr. Palmer's appointment will further strengthen our commitment to providing an educational environment for all students in the Penn Ridge School District. That's all I have.
Thank you. And then I'll make a motion to approve Mr. Bradley Palmer as assistant to the superintendent for administration, contingent upon release from current district at a salary of $168,000.
I'll second that motion. Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome, Mr.
Welcome, Mr. Palmer.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Would you like to come up?
Thank you, Mr. Berrios.
There's a little profile there.
With the speaking voice.
Hold on. Should have put the glasses. But the one that says on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barris. I'd just like to thank the board very much for this opportunity to become part of the Penn Ridge School District. I'm very, very excited to be here. I look forward to working with district administration, with principals, with staff, with families, to really focus on the achievements of our students. So I'm very, very pleased to be with you. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Penn Ridge. The next Personnel Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024.
All right, next up on the committee reports, Ms. Bettis Clemmons, the IU.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. The IU met on November 27th, and I have some highlights for you. Before I get to the highlights, I just don't want to forget, especially as we get into the holiday season, don't forget the WOW program that's right in Percy Square, in the Landis Shopping Center. They offer wonderful treats that are made from our young adults with special needs, and the treats are phenomenal. You can order them from there, you can pick them up, you can have them delivered. And the other thing that they do that I don't think has been publicized a lot, they actually will take all of your old home VHS videos that you have. So if you want to give a present to a family member by taking all of their VHS tapes and having those put onto an electron, like flash drive, thank you. They do all of that for you there, and they do it really inexpensively. I know a lot of people go online and pay a fortune to have that done elsewhere, and this is actually something that our kids do there. So if anyone's looking to have that done with any of their home videos, definitely have them do it. The other thing they do is they make homemade cards. They make it like with a, you think of like a Cricut. Really nice quality for all kinds of occasions, and I think they're like $1 a piece. So make sure you get your cards from there as well. And a couple of other highlights. In November, we have our meeting down at the lower end of the county. We take a van ride there, and we have our meeting at the Samuel Everett School. So I wanted to share a little bit of background on the Samuel Everett School, which is a school that is run completely by the intermediate unit. And I also just want to point out, they actually have a coffee shop in Samuel Everett that's open to the public. So if anyone is down in the lower end, stop in there. It's open on Tuesdays. Their specialty is cold brew, and they have some pastries as well. And we actually have some kids that have now gotten jobs outside of there doing that kind of work because they have that experience in there, which is really neat to see. So the Samuel Everett School actually serves students from kindergarten to age 22 in a variety of center-based programs. It has grown from 42 students in the 2015-16 school year to 140 students currently for the 23-24 school year. The program offerings include intensive emotional support K-8, intensive autistic support K-12, and post-secondary ages 18 to 22 life skills support, multiple disabilities support, and autistic support. In May of 2022, they opened the newest program, the Inspire Partial Hospitalization Program, that provides mental health and emotional support services to students ages 8 through 14. The students in this program receive 3 hours of mental health support and 3 hours of educational programming. We also had a report on the Event Hub. The Bucks IU prides itself in offering high-quality professional learning and networking experience for both internal and external stakeholders. The gateway to these experiences is an event management system that provides a modern and user-friendly client interface along with a flexible back-end interface. Over the past year, the Bucks IU embarked on a journey to identify and implement a new system as part of the comprehensive plan. In May, this was rolled out. The new event management system called Event Hub was officially launched. Event Hub allows the professional learning team to build customizable landing pages, event pages, and registration forms while leveraging features such as custom email notifications, discount codes, embedded links to virtual lessons. It also has a more modern client interface that incorporates the IU branding, customized navigation icons, and multiple viewing options that the user can select. It's user-friendly on a laptop or mobile device. They meet our needs for both internal and external professional development events, but also meet the needs of the Fab Lab. The sequel programs social events for adult programming and summer programming registration for Bridges Virtual, the Bucks IU's K-12 online learning program. That's also something that is offered as a service to our sending districts, as well as updating our websites and a lot of the services that we use here. Another report that that was given and shared was their social media overview. Their marketing has implemented an organization-wide social media calendar and schedule to ensure that the Bucks IU provides up-to-date content from all departments for the Bucks IU social media postings on all of the social media platforms. It allows every division and department across the organization to sign up to send in photos and information for social media coverage. The focus and goal of these posts is to help the public understand who the Bucks IU is and all the amazing things the Bucks IU does as an organization. Monday Moments provide an opportunity to celebrate and honor specific Bucks IU staff, their contributions to the organization, and their program teams. It's also shared via email to all users using the Awesome News. The other thing they shared was a lot of the data backing up the social media and really showing how much how much it's improved and how much it's being accessed and used within the community. They talked about the recruitment and retention through all of the marketing and being able to do the professional recruiting and retention materials with that. In support of the Bucks IU school districts and CTCs, their marketing provides all of the job postings with custom designed template using the school's entity branding, inclusive of colors, fonts, and images. And we used that too when we were doing our superintendent search. They post all of that and they use the branding of each school district. So they help with a lot of that as well. There's also additional marketing supports for HR, including items such as the content creation, graphics, management for videos, advertisements, virtual job fair booth graphics, signs, banners, and other specialty programs. And they use that for their welcoming booth at opening day and for new hires. So all of those are services that are offered to the districts as well, and we can order things through them. And you can see now, if you see some of their vans driving around, it has all of that customized graphics. The tech school is also another option where they design a lot of those graphics in the classroom, and you can order things through there as well. They have promotional pieces and brochures, press releases, media alerts, magazine articles, the Bucks IU online store, the Bucks County Schools Communication Advisory Council, the Awesome E-News training, and Bucks IU branding. And just, I was going to share maybe we can post it on our website. I'll see if David Thomas can post on our website a link to all of the mobile Fab Lab courses that are available that kids can sign up for, so that everybody can see. So I won't read where those are, but that'll be helpful if we could post that on the website for them. Thank you.
Our next IU meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. All right, moving on to the Upper Bucks County Technical School, Mr. Cormack.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Looking for approval.
Your microphone, please.
Thank you. Looking for the approval of acceptance of a JOC member's resignation. A motion to approve the acceptance of resignation of Ms. Bennis Clemens as a JOC member.
Second.
That motion. Motion and a second. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
That was exciting.
That was different.
Never had that happen before. But we're done. No power.
Yeah, once it does.
They're all flashing now.
Yeah, it knocks out all of them for a minute.
Okay.
Just that one.
He's a veteran. He knows what-
Yours isn't blinking.
Here you go.
Just went out.
Eventually it goes.
Okay.
You gotta trust Chester. He knows exactly what he's doing. He really does.
I was never in the AV club.
Here we are again. I didn't touch anything.
Who's blinking? Mine blinking. Mine's not blinking. Jordan, try pushing yours on and off.
It's all right, I know how to project.
Didn't change it.
Mine's working.
Mine can turn off.
Mine's working.
Hello? Did that work at all? Yeah.
Mine works.
Reboot? Should we just continue with that?
Let's continue.
Oh, actually, I don't think it goes. You get the sound through that, don't you? Are you still getting sound? Yeah, we're still on those ones.
Listen, we're
Okay.
working.
So we can
We
still
can just
go.
be louder.
Yeah.
Our outside voice. We got a motion that carries 8-1 for the acceptance of the resignation. Moving on to item number C, Mr. Cormack.
Thank you, sir. We're looking for approval of the UBCTS representative. We need a motion to approve Ms. Jordan Lundgren as the UBCTS JOC member, replacing Ms. Bennis Clemens until her term ends on December 24th. I do want to add a point that should be noted, is that Ms. Lundgren has been our associate or secondary person when we need, if a staff member can't make it to the board. Last month I had a trip to Florida. I couldn't make the meeting. Ms. Lundgren was there to fill in for my replacement. She has been there the whole time, and I should say for the last year you've been involved with the JOC, and it just makes sense that she sees the inner workings of what we've done in the last 12 months, and she's the perfect fit for a 12-month period to fill the JOC Bennis Clemens position.
And just a reminder, there are 3 board members that sit on the JOC, and there's 1 alternate. So technically, there's 4 board directors that sit on the JOC over there. So 3 from each sending district: Palisades, Quakertown, and Penridge. So that kind of should add some clarification to any questions, comments. It should, because people that serve, I actually, for the 5.5 years I've been on the board, I served as an alternate as well, rolled in and then rolled back off. I got a motion and a second.
Just wondering, comments and questions. So,
do we have a second? Did you?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all right. Sorry. Mr.
so this is not a reflection on Jordan and what she's doing, but I think the way this was handled is wrong, so I can't vote for it. It should be left up to next week and the next board to decide this. And this is just a game being played, but it's not a reflection on Jordan. That's why I'm voting no on this.
And I do want to also echo that 2 years ago, when the Mrs. Bennis Clemens' term on the JOC was set to expire, I was asked to allow her to stay. I was the president at the time. I was asked to allow her to stay because I was told that she needed to be there for certain things to be taken care of. But it was with the promise that when those things were taken care of, worked out, that we would have her transition out of the role and have the person who, I expected to be able to appoint to that role take the seat on the JOC. For this to be done this week, I think, again, as Ron said, it's inappropriate to do it. And I would like to also point out that just last year, I look back today, I think it was November 7th of 2022, I wanted to appoint the negotiation committee for the contract with the teachers because we had been asked by the union if we would agree to early bird negotiations. And we thought, yeah, fine, sure, let's get it taken care of, and we can get it taken care of. So this was November 7th, a full month before the reorganization meeting. And I was informed that a majority of the board discussed it amongst themselves and decided that I shouldn't be allowed to appoint the negotiating committee a full month before my term as president would expire. So to do this, I think just 1 week before the new board is coming, it would be sworn in It's obviously transparent what's trying to be done. And I would also point out that the next tech school, or the next meeting of the JOC board is not until, I believe, January 18th. Yeah, there it is, January 18th. So there's nothing to vote on, there's nothing to be done. There would be no harm in allowing the next board to take care of it. Just as I was told a year ago, a month before my term expired, I would say to you that a week before your term expires, actually moments before your term expires, you shouldn't be making this replacement.
Ms.
So,
Chenoweth.
First of all, last year, there wouldn't have been majority support to appoint what you wanted to do, which is a big difference. It's decided by the board with a vote whether or not there's majority support, to do this. We were actually going to appoint Mrs. Blomgren in my place to transition last month, but we didn't because Mr. Cormack was going to be away, and then we would have been short a JOC member. So that's why it got pushed to this month, but Jordan has been the alternate there for a year. She's been up to date on everything that's going on over there. She's been to the JOC meetings and following it. There is still another position that's a 3-year position that's the position that gets appointed in December. I have a year left of my term. I'm resigning and passing the torch to Jordan Blomgren. The new board coming in will get to appoint a new person to a 3-year term. Mr. Rice's term is up, and so the new board will appoint someone to a 3-year term to fill his spot. Mr. Kaufman was gracious enough to come when I invited him to come to the open house. He was able to tour and get to know some of our staff over there, and I really appreciated that, and I know that he has a background in that, and will be able to come in and serve as the 3-year representative for that open slot that will become open as of the December meeting when you reorganize. The new board will also get to appoint an alternate to the board as well, so that would be a 4th position that would be assigned to the JOC.
Is there any urgency in doing this appointment now as opposed to waiting until December?
This is
No,
always
just
been,
is
and this
there
is what
any-
we do with the alternate. The alternate.
I just wondered whether there's any urgency. Like if there was urgency, I could see that.
We were going to, like I said, we were planning on doing it last.
But if Jordan is the right candidate, couldn't we expect the board,
Well,
as it
the board-
reorganizes in December, to be able to vote for Jordan to fill that position?
You could do that
It just seems like, I could sense the outrage if somebody was doing this and the shoe was on the other foot. And so it just doesn't seem like a good process to do it. If Jordan's the right candidate, great, let the new board vote her in December.
This has been always our pattern.
Well, it doesn't mean that it's the right pattern.
No, it's not always a pattern. Absolutely not.
Actually, I was the alternate before and I got left off, but so
Yeah.
that isn't the pattern.
That isn't the pattern.
And to be quite frank, none of the new people have ever come to a single JOC meeting, so that's.
Megan,
but-
when
That's
you,
not true.
Megan, you agreed, Megan, I wanted to appoint someone and I was blocked back in December of,
Nope, you're done.
back in December, whatever, 2 years
And there was
ago.
never an agreement for
Megan, you
the
actually aren't
JOC.
supposed to be on the
Something
board
just
right
like that.
now. So let's go back to that. Ron was supposed to be the alternate, so to make this,
Ms. Chenoweth.
Jordan, so, but we can vote on it. It's not right. You guys know it's not right. No matter how long you talk about it, it's not going to be right. But let's vote.
We
Because they're
we
gonna
will
do what they're
review
gonna
it
do.
again.
Yeah,
We will review it again.
and that's true. They can
Ms.
be
Chenoweth,
changed
please.
at any time.
Mrs. Maz Clemens?
Yes.
Ms. Batisky?
No.
Mrs. Blomgren?
Yes.
Mrs. Chaikin?
Yes.
Mr. Cormack?
Yes.
Mrs. Cullen?
No.
Mr. Russell?
No.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
And Mr. Wers?
No.
Motion carries. All right.
The next scheduled meeting is January 18th, 2024.
Actually, that's incorrect. The next JOC meeting would be December,
No, that's what it is here.
There's a December meeting.
there's a December meeting, I'm just looking,
Oh, that's right.
21st.
December 21st?
Why?
Moving on, committee reports. Ms. Batisky, was there a pack meeting?
Yeah, I have a brief one.
Thank you.
Good evening. On October 26th, 6 people attended
That was me, sorry.
Penridge Area Coordinating Committee meeting representing the various municipalities in Penridge. We were joined by Silverdale Borough Mayor Steve Cordell, who was happy to announce Silverdale's first new business in many years, T6 Game Link. Also in Silverdale, a new development by WB Homes was approved, which will bring 45 homes to Green Street and 113. Separately, I received several positive comments from community members about the Senior Expo that was held at the Tech School in early October. Seems like a valuable way to give back to the community. And finally, all community representatives spoke of the difficulties that they're facing providing ambulance services in their community. So I was encouraged by the new medical academy offering that we approved earlier in tonight's meeting. Please consider attending your local township meetings to learn more and understand how you can help. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Matisky. Moving on to public comment. Just one. Or I could just come back with the book. There are no public comments.
Mr. President?
Yes.
As we are at old business, it seems to me, I know that Mr. Russell wanted a point of privilege to address people in his last meeting. I think it would be appropriate to allow the other board members who are rotating off a similar opportunity if they wish to address the public that they've served. So I'd ask that Mr. Russell and whomever else you want to recognize be recognized for a short period of time in old business.
Thank you.
Can't hear.
Yeah.
Hear out here.
Is there
a microphone that works?
No, mine went.
No, are we going to get the police scanner next? I mean, like, what is happening here? Car 92, car 92. 504.
Can I project? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
You're able to
Two mics in front of you, so everyone.
All right. Now, as I complete my last school board meeting, I'm reminded of the story of a new CEO who was hired to take over a struggling company. The CEO who was stepping down met with a new CEO privately and presented him with 3 numbered envelopes. Open these if you run into serious trouble, he told him. Well, 3 months later, sales and profits were still way down, and the new CEO was catching a lot of heat. He began to panic, but then he remembered the envelopes. He went to his drawer and took out the first envelope. The message read, "Blame your predecessor." The new CEO called a press conference and explained that the previous CEO had left him with a real mess, and it was taking a bit longer to clean it up than expected. But everything was on the right track. Satisfied with his comments, the press and Wall Street responded positively. Another quarter went by, and the company continued to struggle. Having learned from his previous experience, the CEO quickly opened the second envelope. The message read, "Reorganize." So he fired key people, consolidated divisions, and cut costs everywhere he could. Wall Street and the press applauded his efforts. 3 months passed, and the company was still short on sales and profits. The CEO would have to figure out how to get through another tough earnings call. The CEO went to his office, closed the door, and opened the third envelope. The message said, "Prepare 3 envelopes." As far as I know, no one has given Ron Wirtz and Angelo Barrios 3 envelopes, and all joking aside, I wish them both the best. Over the past 2 years, it has been my privilege to serve the Penridge community. When appointed 2 years ago, I came with no political agenda and without knowing any of the current board members. My hope was to add value to the board by bringing an understanding of organizational leadership and a logical approach to decision making. Unfortunately, as became evident to all who care to observe, we have an imperfect system where logic, reason, and pragmatism are not always as valued as I hoped. During this season of thanking and giving, it is my wish for the community and our new district leadership that we all receive a fresh perspective, that we see others with the same charitable lens through which we wish to be seen, that we be the kind of person we wish others would become. With
Ms. Collins, do you have comments?
I just wanted to, that's like good place to piggyback. I just wanted to thank, we have 4 board members obviously leaving, and thank you guys for your service. It's thankless. It's more work and time than you think. I'm a little bit jealous. Not because of the new board, just because the board is a lot. But I especially really want to thank, I also didn't know anybody, thank Megan, but like her or hate her, and nobody can deny that Megan does more work than any volunteer I've ever seen in my life. She's like an encyclopedia. She's offered to, reach out to new school board members she is like Google for school board. And did not know you 2 years ago, and I now consider you a friend, and I thank all of you, but Megan, you go far above and beyond. To Joan's point, you're on every committee in the whole district, it seems like. I don't know how you do it.
Ms. Cullen, do you have a comment?
Not really. I think Jonathan said it well. Just to the new board members, congratulations, but also please keep in mind the promises that were made, the reasons why people elected you, and always keep all of your stakeholders in mind. Put your political thoughts behind, and that's the blessing and the curse of being elected. Now you're elected, and you're a government official. You're not a politician anymore. At least you should not be. So that's all I would ask, is that you would bring a fresh perspective, what you were asked to do, and I don't know, just keep the students. And I know people don't like that phrase, the trite, it's for the children, but really and truly it is for the children. It's for their education, for their future, putting them on the best footing that they can possibly have as they go out of our doors. So always keep that in mind. And if it's something that maybe is not quite to your liking, it is a public school. And I say that all the time to people on the left of me and the right of me. I say to them, well, it's a public school, so you have to serve all of the public in an unbiased way. So I'm hopeful that you'll be able to do that, and that we'll have some harmony here. And I just thank the public for 8 years. I am looking forward to the next phase of life, and I think it's great to have different people stepping up, because again, that's a blessing and a curse. You get this opportunity, and then you find out, it's like that old meme that used to be on Facebook, what my friends think I do, what my mom thinks I do, what I really do. You'll learn that when you get up onto the dais and you figure out what school board members can and cannot do, and maybe what the job is and isn't. So thank you. That's all.
Ms. Powell.
I just wanted to say I really appreciated the opportunity to serve the district for 8 years and make things better for kids, help meet the needs of every kid in the district, focusing on meeting kids' needs with special ed, and I really appreciate Jen Summers' passion for kids with special needs and doing her best to make sure that she can do everything she can to help every kid be successful. Some of the highlights of things that I've appreciated is working on pathways, expanding dual enrollment opportunities, helping every kid be able to access their own pathway, no matter what that pathway is, and get into whatever college they want with whatever major they want, and make sure that we have the flexibility in the schedules for them to be able to do that. Adding air conditioning, at least in the elementary schools, in the large spaces, so people could rotate. It's my biggest regret is that we didn't get, I've never gotten to a point where I had enough support to get air conditioning for the whole elementary schools. One of my favorite things more recently that I think is going to make such a huge difference for kids that Kathy Scheid can tell you I've been advocating for 8 years, and I'm so appreciative that Tony Robarchak and Kathy Scheid finally helped it come to fruition with adding math and RELA teaching assistants to push in the elementary level and the middle school level to truly help meet the needs of every kid, because that's how it's going to make the difference. That's how scores are going to go up, is those aides getting to push into the classrooms, pull kids and work with them on formative assessments on a regular basis to help them in their areas of needs. That is going to be the biggest driver that is going to drive our scores up. That is the single most important thing, and I thank you too for putting that into motion. It's something I truly appreciate. Bringing STEM in, STEM is going to be the pathway. I remember when Dr. Scheid first brought us STEM, and we were a little bit like, you know, learning about this new concept at the time, and look at how things have gone with now having STEM all the way through K-12, and it's the future. Kids need that technical background to be successful. Kids need to learn that hands-on experience and skill set. When you look at all of the kids who are successful, it's that hands-on skilled learning and training that they're getting. You know, serving on the tech board too has been such a privilege, and seeing all of what these kids are accomplishing over there. When, you know, we have kids going into engineering programs, working for NASA, you know, working in every trade for all of these jobs that we need so much. All of these people who are great at working with their hands, winning competitions everywhere. You know, I'm proud of the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, who leads the way across the state in making sure they find all the needs in the county and find a way to meet those needs, and then find a way to get Uncle Sam to pay for it, which is a gift that, you know, I think other IUs really admire, because again, they're not increasing the fees that they're charging the sending districts. You know, all of the negotiations and getting all of our professional staff from being the bottom of the county finally up to the average of the county in both the starting and top salaries, getting our support staff to really the top. Our support staff is actually at the top now, to get people to want to come here. Everybody should be coming to Penridge. We're the place to be, and we have the best benefits around. And I need to make sure I thank, as far as the negotiations, you know, Sean Daubert and Tara Mossman have been so helpful in the negotiations, in pooling information, and all of their department teams as well, pooling information for negotiations, helping to crunch the numbers, crunch you know, all of the language changes to make sure that it says everything that we need it to say for both the staff and the district. So I really appreciate all of that. You know, and Tara has been doing such a phenomenal job in updating all of our HR procedures, working overtime. Mr. Daubert has kept our finances supreme, even though we have a little bit of a different perspective where you know, as a business administrator, you want to keep as much money in, and you know, I'm more about the not raising taxes piece. But I appreciate you making the numbers work and not raising taxes for us, and you know, when we've asked, and you've worked the magic and made it happen, 7 years, and got us to a point where we're going to be debt free. I mean, if we would have said that 8 years ago, no one would have believed that we would be in that position, right? And we are, because of the great work with the board and the administration. Nancy Chenoweth, you are a gift. You're the greatest thing we ever stole from Quakertown. And we love you and appreciate you, and thank you so much for all of your hard work. In case you don't know, when people come in and they send in 5 right to knows at a time or 10 right to knows at a time, the person who that all gets dumped on is Nancy Chenoweth, our right to know officer, our board secretary, our administrative assistant for the superintendent. She's got so many titles and so much work, and we just appreciate all of your hard work. I know the right to knows have been huge, and sometimes, you know, just at the worst times in the summer, where you got to drop everything and you know, change your plans to meet those 5-day deadlines that you get. And so I just appreciate everything that you've put in for all of that. The parties, I mean, the best party planner, if anyone needs a party planner, I'm sure she could do that on the side, because she's phenomenal at that too. So thank you, all of you. You know, I really appreciated all of the work from all of you. Mr. Barrios, I am so excited to see you taking the reins and everything that you're going to do. You are a fierce advocate for kids. You're humble, you're down to earth, and your priority is making sure that we do everything we can to meet the needs of every single student in the district, first and foremost over everything. And I know that leaving here, I'm leaving the district in good hands with you taking control and moving things in the right direction. David Thomas, thank you for all of your time, recording all of the meetings, and that video for the soccer was phenomenal. Great work, really, really great, impressive work on that. Thank you for all of your work, and I know that you're going to be doing a great job. Chester.
Just going around the room, so be ready.
Chester,
Get ready.
thank you. Every time I have a technology issue, you're right there, and you're the technology wizard, and I thank you for all of your help. Really appreciate it every time, and you always keep everything up and running for us, and all of your time and our long meetings to all hours. Really appreciate it. So thank you for that. Mike Miller, you have been phenomenal as a solicitor, and the district has been so lucky to have you, and I really appreciate everything that you've done for all of us. And I love that you will always say what the law says, whether people want it to say that or not. And that's your job, and that's what I really appreciate about you is, you know, you're not here to make everybody happy. You're here to tell everybody what the law says, like it or not.
Ms. Bass Clemens, if I had the Academy music to play, I'd play you out.
That's
Or you could just set thank the key grip, the best boy, the Academy.
To my fellow board members, it's been great working with you. I've really appreciated all of your insight and working with you. And it's been wonderful to see everybody work together for kids in all of these areas. Obviously, I could have done without some of the personal negative stuff from certain people, but I appreciate all of the passion behind making decisions based on what's best for kids.
All right, I think that's my turn. I'll try to make it brief. I just want to, first of all, welcome to new board members coming on board. It's always fun. You have to look at it in that perspective. It's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging. We're not always, you don't always agree on everything. Come in with an open mind, an open heart. Baseball first. I had to say baseball somewhere in there. I believe it's been, actually, there's so many things and so many, Mr. Barris, you're in such a great position with the administrative staff that you have. These guys are awesome. They're doing a great job. You got Mr. Thomas over there. I mean, just in the last year, I got to know more and more about each one of them. They're awesome people. You have a great staff that is going to be working for the students. As far as fellow board members, I love you guys. You don't have to agree to appreciate everybody out here. You can have differences of opinions. Have that Penridge pride and make sure that, moving forward, you do the right thing for the students. I think that's it. I try to keep it short, and I'll end it with baseball.
I just want to thank the board and the board members that are leaving. I appreciate serving with you. I'd like to specifically thank Jonathan for his spirited debate, and we were able to always have a good conversation and end up not always agreeing or disagreeing. And I'd like to thank Joan Cullen. She taught me a lot, as I learned a lot in the last few years, and I have no doubt that they are doing what's best for our community and for our kids, and I thank them for being on the board. Thanks.
Well, let's be the last one, I think. I don't say a lot, but most people will agree to that. But I really want to say that I'm appreciative of all the time, effort, and energy that Dave Rice has put into this position. You will never know the amount of time and effort that this man has put forth to make this school board run. I've watched him behind the scenes, talking how he talks to people, how he communicates, how he wants to make things happen. He's always been that way. So, Mr. Baseball, I want to say congratulations. Sorry to see you go, but you are a man of men, and I appreciate knowing you. Thank you.
I want to say one more thing too. I want to thank everyone, the 4 board members that are leaving. It's nothing for the new board members coming on. I think it's nothing you're even going to imagine what it's going to be like. So congratulations to you, but thank you for the time. In particular, I just want to say a few words for Megan. I swear it's not this paper long. I just jotted some notes down. But when I first started on the board, I'm ashamed to say, but I was not a fan of NBC. I wanted to keep my distance for a long time. So I'm embarrassed to say to myself that I judged her before really getting to know her. And she's a leader. Like her or hate her, like Ricky said, she's a leader. And I give that compliment proudly because I think leaders are truly hard to find. She's always stood by what she's believed is best for students, even if that meant that she's standing alone. And standing alone is difficult, a lot, to do those things. It takes a lot of courage. So I want to thank you for doing your job as a school board director by providing the checks and balances that you do to the district. I want to thank you for all the time you've put in, and I would bet that it blows the average time a school board director puts in double, triple that out of the water. You do your homework. I've never met anybody that just knows, fact checks everything. Like literally, you should be the fact checker of everything. And provided a great insight and transparency to the community. I know that you will sleep well after tonight, but not because you're done as this Penridge School Board Director, but because you've always voted your conscience, and you can sleep well knowing that you voted what you, in your heart, felt was the right thing to do for this district. So I just want to say that I've learned so much from you. I respect you greatly, and I'm going to miss you up here. Thank you.
Is there any new business? All right, seeing no new business, I get an announcement. An executive session was held on November 8th, 2023 to discuss personnel matters. The next school board meeting is scheduled for Monday, December 4th, 2023. And